Hey, my little beans, it's Blanco Bean here, and today we are discussing Baddies West, episode 8. Apologies for, making this review really late. It's about to be Baddies episode 9, but, things get busy, so apologies though. So let's just get into it. So we are in the continuation between Stunna versus Razor. I think Stunna was able. I think I couldn't really see much. I don't know if Razor was able to like snatch up Stunna or something was happening. I know Stunna was able to pull off Razor's wig, but it was really hectic in that airplane. I thought the whole situation was just, I don't know. It felt like it was kind of like, I don't want to say it was like a miscommunication because I honestly think it's more of like right message but wrong messenger, kind of situation because I'm trying to put myself in Stunna's shoes where it's like people keep telling me, like what to do and telling me what I should be doing. And it can get infuriating. It can be annoying to keep hearing people, hey, you need to, stop doing what you're doing. You need to apologize. You need to, call it good so that we can go blah, 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 blah. So I can understand where Stunna is coming from when it comes to that, because it's like, one, I think I mentioned this in the previous review where, Stunna did go to to Biggie and tried to have a conversation. Of course, it went left completely because there was no mediator. But at the same time, it was like at least she put in a little bit of effort in order to go talk about this with Biggie. It's just that it wasn't approached very well. So I can definitely understand where Stun is coming from. It's like Razor at the same time, like, yes, you put your things aside when it comes to Scotty in order to get it moving and pushing and whatnot. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know. Again, right message, but wrong messenger. I will say that Razor really needs to put down the liquor. I know she wants to say I feel like she's trying to minimize it a little bit, because something that I noticed when she was, and I'm getting ahead of myself, but I noticed when they were discussing in the living room with Razor and Tommy, Scotty, and Natalie, where she was like, oh, this only happened like once, and everyone's like, no, this happened twice already, and she's just minimizing it, because I understand, because at the same time it's embarrassing. It's an embarrassing moment, and you don't want to be portrayed into being seen as you have a problem. But at the same time, it does seem like a problem. Like she gets really hyped. She gets really like I don't know, like just yelling and just not wanting people to bother her. Like in those moments, I just kept feeling like, everyone just ignore her. Just ignore Razor. Don't focus on her. Don't listen. Don't do anything. Don't even like try to scoot away from her, because at the same time, I feel like if you're getting near her and trying to talk to her about things, it's just going to set her off. And so I know that's something just for like the ratings and whatnot, just to get a reaction. I feel like that's why that's why I think Natalie kept saying things about like, oh, we need to, chill. We need to move on from this. And then Razor just kept yelling and yelling. And it was just like, y'all, just leave her alone. Like, she's obviously not in the mood. Let's keep it aside. Like, let's just safe. Like, the first thing to worry about is safety. That's the first thing we need to worry about, is the safety. Is everyone safe? Is Razor safe? Is Stunna safe? Let's keep it pushing. And not always constantly trying to antagonize Razor. But again, Razor, you need to acknowledge that when you start drinking a little bit, it can be a lot. And I've been there, not to the point where like Razor, I'm not the type of person that when it comes to like getting violent and shouting when I used to drink. But like it got to me where it was something where, it was a habit of like, oh, I don't have a problem. But my behaviors will keep continuing on because I kept over drinking. And sometimes you don't have that control. You might think you have control, but once you start drinking, you just want to keep pouring those drinks, and it's hard to stop. So I understand when it comes to Razor, but at the same, and it's something that you have to reflect on a lot as to why do I keep doing this. It's much deeper, y'all. Like, I feel like when it comes to like drinking and everything like that, if you notice that you are binge drinking a lot, blacking out, whatnot, there's something deeper going on. There's something that's going on that you are overly heavily drinking. But let's move along from that situation. So we go into the bus moment where it was, Biggie, Sky, Rolly, and Tommy and Cap. And I really enjoyed this moment that they had together. They were actually discussing a little bit more about like just each other's like emotions and things that were happening in their lives. It started off with like Rolly talking a little bit about like, her dealing with her depression. And being homeless as well. And she also mentioned about like using substance in order to be able to suppress what she's dealing with. And I think this was so real because I think a lot of us in our the viewers can definitely understand what she might be experiencing, because maybe that's something that we're going through ourselves. And so I really enjoyed this moment because it's something that you can reflect from all of these cast members, because it's like, wow, like you're dealing with that, like, because the thing when it comes to these shows is they show you so much of the glamour. It makes me think about like Instagram. You see people on Instagram posing like great pictures, you see them traveling and all these things, but you don't see the backside of things. You don't see what's actually going on for this person. You may see the glamour and the lights and the beauty, but you're not actually seeing what are the things that they're actually going through behind the scenes. And I'm glad that Rolly was able to open up about this. And, she talked a little bit about as well COVID and how COVID affected, in her life when it came to her partner. I think she mentioned that they passed away because of it. And that's when the other women started talking about it. Like Sky mentioned about her father passing away because of COVID. Kat mentioned about her best friend passing away from COVID. And it was just... It was so surreal. Like, it was just something that, I feel like a lot of us can relate to, because especially during those times, and we're still going through it. COVID hasn't gone away. People are still going through this, but during like the beginning stages of everything, like we saw so many things happening. And I feel like as a society, we haven't even grieved about this catastrophe, And it's something that it's good to be able to talk about and express about, because the more that we talk about what is happening in our lives, the more we release certain things that are holding onto us. I'm a huge advocate for therapy. Of course, therapy is not something that is always, accessible, because money, insurance, and everything like that. Therapy can be very expensive. So that's why I think the best next thing to do is to find friends, people that you can confide in, or family members that you can open up to, because you need people in order to express yourself. You need people around you, a community, to be able to talk things through, because we all go through things, and of course, like, you may feel like you don't want to, overburden someone else, but at the same time, it's like you need to release certain things about you, because if you keep suppressing it, it can lead to other things. It can lead to your detrimental as well. So that's something to consider. Then we see us, or also Biggie mentioned a little bit about, she mentioned about like she felt that she grew up being too Latin for, the black kids, and too black for the Latin kids. And that really made me reflect back about like what I hear a lot when it comes to Latina people, especially different groups. I think about sort of like my friends, where they talk about like I'm too Latina for my white friends, but but my skin is too white for my Latina friends, and it's like that cross middle about things. Same with like, if y'all watch the Selena movie, what the father said. I can't remember what it was fully, but it was like something like too Mexican for the white folks, but too like, I don't know, too American for the Mexicans, or something like that. But it's real, and that's something that people do experience. And so I'm glad that Biggie was able to bring that up, because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of like Afro Latina people who can relate to what she mentioned. And she also mentioned about being bullied throughout, growing up. And as well, a very important topic, as people have experienced being bullied. I know I've experienced bullying myself at a young age, so it was very relatable what each and every individual has mentioned in this bus ride, and I hope to see more of this. I remember that, Tanisha, when she was on board when it comes to Baddies, I feel like she wanted something more like this, compared to Natalie wanting more of drama among the women. So it was really nice to be able to have this kind of like, dialogue, because it's true. People experience so many things, and we need to really shine this, and it's okay. And it's also advocating to talk about these kind of things. So moving along. So I think the next important thing that happened on this episode was, towards the end, everything else before like the group meeting at the end with the girls, was just recaps. They started talking about the whole Razor and Stunna situation, and so forth. So nothing too memorable on that part. But at the very end, Natalie and Tommy wanted to talk a little bit about, how to structure, the appearances. They noticed that Lo started singing randomly. Excuse me. But Lo started singing randomly to the group. In the performances, and they weren't aware that she was going to do this. Same with Sky. They noticed that Sky was performing as well, which was like, wait, what? You weren't even supposed to perform too. So they wanted a little bit more structure. So they decided that, Sky, you do the DJing, and then Lo, don't perform, because Lo needed to, finalize her song, not just use something that she's still working on. And I believe Stunna and Rolly and Krishan and Tommy are still the performers of the show. But this night, it appeared that Stunna was too sick to perform, so she wasn't able to do it. And so, also, I forgot to mention, I believe that they are currently in Arizona. Just FYI about that. So they finally, agreed about the new structure. If people want to perform, please, bring it up to Tommy or Natalie, which I'm pretty sure they're gonna be like, no, you're not performing. But then we get into the money situation. So from the previous night, what they made from Las Vegas, they made about 20 racks, meaning 20K dollars. I loved Rolly's response. I love the positivity when she was just like, oh, good job, everyone. We did a good job, And then Tommy was like, no, we did not do a good job. But I love that Rolly could like put in the positive note. But, Tommy was like, what? Like she was like, I make that much just making a club appearance. This is something that I make myself in just one club appearance, not even performing. So how are we going to split this up? And that's when, the women started talking about how are we going to split up the 20K amongst each other. Lo was saying that, which I love Lo. Like, I like how Lo articulates herself in these conversations. I see so much growth with Lo compared to her on Bad Girls Club season 12. Like, I see the growth. Like, I'm amazed. Like, I really like seeing this. And she just speaks up. She speaks her mind, but she says it in a way that is not disrespectful, but more of like, let's have a conversation and problem solve. I love this. And so Lo was saying we should be splitting this up equally because, these were club appearances. These were not performances. This is something where, we were all working that night. Yes, there was, of course, y'all performed and stuff, but at the same time, we weren't promoting a concert. We were promoting a club appearance. Rolly disagreed. Rolly was like, I think that us performers should be getting paid more. Only because, I like Rolly mentioned about being like, losing her voice, sweating, having to rap and having to hype up the crowd and so forth. Now, Tommy, on the other hand, definitely agreed with Rolly about, she didn't out loud said I agree with Rolly, but she was definitely on the performer should be getting paid more. I know that Tommy mentioned about, I'm not a guest on this show. I'm an executive producer, which I feel like this is a different situation when it comes to Tommy, because it's like, Tommy, then you should be going to talk to producers about this. I feel like if you're an executive producer, you should be receiving a separate check. So why is Tommy getting a split with this 20K? That's the part that made no sense to me, because I'm just like, why isn't Natalie saying anything about the split? Like, because I believe Natalie got her own check. So I'm confused about this. Like, why is Tommy amping herself up about this situation? Shouldn't Natalie be angry too about this? Because it's like, I know Natalie didn't, perform, but at the same time, she seems so like nonchalant about it, And so the reason I think she was nonchalant was because she was getting her own cut. She already received her check. So my question is, where is Tommy's check? Yes, Tommy performed and had an appearance, but at the same time, like she mentioned, she's an executive producer and she's a guest on the show. Now, the first thing that comes into my mind is, what did they sign in their contracts? Because the thing is that my personal opinion, and I'm not, a club promoter, I'm not a producer, I'm not a lawyer, nothing of that sort. So this is just based on my own opinion, but I do believe that everyone should be getting an equal amount based on appearance, because they all signed up to be on this show together. And so I do think that every single person should have a baseline on how much they should be earning, a percentage, based on appearance, because of course they all have their own tasks. The girls are shaking their ass, they're also pouring drinks, they're also getting the crowd hyped, they're taking pictures with the crowd. They're also working themselves. I mean, even Biggie was like, hey, if I need to go on board and sign some contracts, because 20 rack is not enough for all of these women on here, like, what is this? And I agree. I'm like, 20K. I mean, I wouldn't argue. I don't make that much in just one night. It's like, what is it? Like, they make 2K for one night, just for a one night appearance. I mean, hey, if y'all don't want that 2K, I'm more than happy to have it. But it's just something where, like, I think about, like, what's the baseline for the club appearance? What's the percentage? What's the percentage or for if I were to perform? What is the percentage there? Also thinking about numbers, but at the same time, no, I'm going to scratch that. Because at the same time, it's like, we all signed up for this. We all agreed to be on this. So it doesn't matter if whoever has the most fans should be getting paid more or less. Like, that should not matter at all, because we all signed up. We should make this as equal as possible for this to happen. But I do think that there should be something where it's like, okay, if I'm going to be performing, I should be making a certain percentage based on my performances. But also, we need to be promoting that there's going to be special guests performing. So if that means that Rolly and Tommy and whoever performs, they should be maybe on the front or on the side, a little bit more bigger on the advertising sheet, saying that they're going to be the ones performing, so that it's not just, a club appearance. Because a club appearance is you just show up, take pictures, dance around, get the crowd hyped up and everything. But a performance is, I'm going on stage, I'm going to be rapping, I'm going to be singing, whatever, So that's just what I think. And also, like, I think about also DJ Sky. Like, she's the DJ for this. Does she get a special cut as well? Because she's also making an appearance. And, at the same time, I don't even know if people even knew who DJ Sky was to begin with. But maybe after now. But I don't know. It's just something where I'm like thinking, well, what did y'all sign in your contracts? If y'all didn't sign anything, I agree with Lo. I personally do agree with Lo, only because it's like, yes, we didn't promote this as a concert. We promoted this as an appearance. Y'all don't need to perform if y'all are not getting your cut. So if anything, the performer should be mad at the producers, if anything. hey, I freaking sang my ass off on stage. I rapped my ass off on stage. Like, why am I not getting a special cut? Why do I have to split it up with everyone else when I did something extra while we were at the club? So I do feel like Tommy released her frustrations on the wrong people. I personally think that she should be talking with producers about this. But we'll see what happens. At the end of the day, this was just the first night in regards to how much they were getting paid. So we'll see if what they decide later on. Maybe we'll get results in the next episode. But that's about it when it comes to episode 8. It was all right. It was an all right episode in my opinion. I feel like these episodes are like getting more like kind of I don't want to insult the show, but it's getting a little bit more boring as time progresses. I feel like it was really hyped in the beginning, but now it's just something where it's like, okay, you know? And I feel like that's been like the trend when it comes to Baddies. It's like in the beginning, it's really hyped and everything, but then as time progresses, it's getting a little bit repetitive or boring and sort of and such, but we'll see if things pick up. But yeah, what did y'all think about this episode? Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time, my little beans. Peace.